JT Barnett, hey, welcome to the Elevate Your Lifestyle podcast, my brother. I am so excited to have you on. Y'all, if you don't know who JT is, he's like one of Dallas's most undiscovered secrets. He filmed Tiger King. He has filmed Cheaters, and y'all are on season 22 of Cheaters now, one of the longest running television series filmed right here in Dallas, Texas, and I'm so grateful and honored to have you on, JT. So really, thank you for coming on, and I'm excited for this episode, 100%.
No. Hello, Harrison. Thank you for having me on the podcast. I'm very excited. We've known each other a long time and done a lot of different things, but I'm happy to be here and be joining the podcast and chopping it up with you today, man. So.
Uh, and people don't know, like, I mean, every time I hang out with you, I learned something crazy about you, some like insane thing that you filmed, or you filmed for this person or that person. And so I got to come over there the other day, and man, you're doing some big stuff with David Panda and
Yeah.
with the Inner Circle, and then you're going to like Mumbai to teach. And
Yep. In
just
2 weeks.
walk us through like what's going on in the life of JT, making some big moves here as of recent. So walk us through kind of what's coming up for you, and just tell the people what's going on.
Well, yeah, and shout out to David Chen, Panda. He brought me in the inner circle at his VC firm, GTIF Capital, and I've been doing a bunch of work with them. He's also a professor of esports learning. David's helped start the FaZe Clan back in the day and is on the board and does a tremendous amount of esports stuff, including writing the curriculum for a bunch of colleges. And so we linked up about a year ago. And so he kind of brought me into this aspect of, teaching or workshops or giving back. So that's one of the things we're doing in Mumbai is we're doing like a filmmaking workshop with Professor Mac, who's an ex SMU professor. And yeah, so I'm going to teach there for a week. We're working with some really cool initiatives in Africa. We're working with the Secretary General of the Africa Mineral Strategies Group, which is a coalition of 20 African countries and their world leaders. So I've been shooting a lot of cool stuff with David, and he's introduced me to, a lot of professional athletes, world champions, kings, princes, and a whole host of other people. So it's been exciting to work on some of that stuff this year. And I'm also more excited to bring, I mean, you mentioned Cheaters. I've been doing this over 20
Yeah,
years. So
20
we're
years.
ramping up for season 22 right now. We took a couple year break after we kind of transitioned our back catalog to streaming. But yeah, so it's our 22nd season of Cheaters.
That's amazing. I mean, to do anything 20 years is like, I mean, that's just anything. If you're married 20 years, if you're at a job 20 years, I mean, anything to do 20 years straight, especially in the entertainment industry, is definitely an accomplishment. So,
But
kudos.
yeah,
And I don't
and
think
people
people
don't
realize
realize. I mean, Cheaters syndicate us 1,000 episodes. It's grossed $1 billion. It spans 22
crazy.
years. You can watch it in every country in the world. So shout out to my mentor, Bobby Goldstein, the
Right.
original creator of Cheaters,
Yeah.
because without him, none of this would be possible. And it's been great kind of linking back up later in life and working on the same IP we were working on, 20 years ago. Completely different world and market and platform than what we do now.
Still
So
rolling and still
still
going strong.
going.
That's
Yeah.
like truly timeless, which is definitely just it's crazy to think about 20 years of one show. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, and then just makes me very old. I look every bit of my 105 years old.
Wise. I would just say
Yeah,
wise, just wise.
wise, wise. That's what it is.
Speaking of
Yes,
speaking of
wise.
wise, great segue. Speaking of wise here, so you're an established, like, well-known filmmaker in the industry, and then you decide you want to get more wise and go back to school at SMU. Is that what you're doing right
Oh,
now?
oh yeah. I mean, I have about I don't know 6 electives left to graduate with my MBA
Wow.
from Southern Methodist University. I'm in the Cox Business School, and I've been focusing on a global business initiative there. Professor David Jacobson, who's a global business lawyer and a clinical professor at the school, he really has helped me out and taken me on some of these global business immersions with half a dozen other great grad students in various industries, and I've gotten to experience international business in North Africa, South America, Casablanca and Marrakesh in Morocco, and then Santiago, Chile. And for me, it was really eye-opening and exciting, to be honest with you. Like, I'm a filmmaker, I'm a creative, but there's some really exciting things about business, especially global business, and especially in today's, climate, um, as it were. It's challenging, it's exciting, and at the end of the day, it just brings it home better. So I've always been a great motion photographer and producer and filmmaker. Again, that's just a creative position. I'm a glorified button pusher, but to bring it back home with business, I think it just helps elevate everything I'm doing, production wise and
Yeah. And
entertainment
I think you're really
wise.
growing your network there too. That's where you got hooked up with Panda, David?
I did not meet. I actually met Panda at a ConnectX group, but David does work. He wrote the curriculum for the esports. If you're in the esports program at SMU, David wrote your curriculum. So, right now they're doing the esports awards in Riyadh, I think. So a couple of the guys from the inner circle are over there, or that may have just passed. But there's some really great guys in our team that are, and yeah. So I met up with David, but yes, it was a kindred thing of him having written the curriculum and being recognized as a professor at SMU. And then I ran into him at the ConnectX event. I was like, oh, well, I'm a grad student. So we kind of bonded over that a little bit. And then just a mutual respect for business. I mean, he's done a tremendous amount, but more than we could. He's definitely someone you want to have on your podcast in the
Yeah.
future.
Oh, I'm definitely bringing him on after the one meeting, the one inner circle meeting that we had on Wednesday. He's definitely getting a phone call from me 100%.
I mean, dude, it's just really badass. There's just people in the group like you wouldn't think. Like, I mean, the people David's introduced me to and that are in the inner circle in the group. I mean, he had Lamar Odom out here at my house. We got the guy from the UN.
Sugar Ray Leonard was on the call. I sent my dad that, and he's like LOL, and I'm like, no, it's actually Sugar Ray, Dad. Like it's actually him. So that
Right,
was pretty.
Sugar Ray Leonard Jr.
Junior. Yeah. Okay.
Jr. Right, the legend passed, but he actually has a big. They're working with us on some of the frameworks we're doing in Africa. He's doing a thing in Dubai right now where they're training boxers. Sugar Ray Leonard is,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
uh, and um, and they're going to do a similar initiative in some of these countries
Okay.
in Africa as well.
That's
But yeah,
badass.
no, it's like Sugar Ray Leonard. Like you go in the room and it's like Lamar Odom and Sugar Ray Leonard, or he invited me to this thing in Vegas. I went to Michael Turpin's house in Vegas, which is Mike Tyson's old mansion where he had the
Yeah.
tigers. And what's
That's
so
great.
funny is I was looking around this place and I was like, it's so sick, and the pool's sick. And then I was talking to them and they were like, oh no, well this was just the pets pool. And I was like, what? This isn't the big house. They were like, this is just the extra house connected to where the pool area he had for his tigers. And so, but it was just like this whole grotto would be. I thought it was the mini mansion, right? I didn't even realize there's a whole another one, but I was like, oh wow, this is the little one. But I mean, I met really cool people there, talked to them about some exciting stuff, and I'm just excited to be a part of all that as well as the filmmaking initiatives and the other stories I'm telling.
I got a question. What is and maybe you can't, maybe you can't like play favorites, but I'm gonna ask you a tough question. What was your favorite project you've ever done, or most interesting slash favorite project you've ever filmed? I mean, you've been filming now at least 20 plus years. So in that time period, like what is your favorite project, or what was the one that stood out to you the most?
I mean, I don't want to play favorites and single them out. I really like when I'm shooting a project, I get tunnel vision. So while we're shooting it, while we're getting it distributed, right, it's my favorite project ever, right?
So whatever.
And then but to be honest, I mean, the most notoriable, even as much or more so than Cheaters, is the Tiger King. I
Yeah.
mean, I shot the
Crazy.
and that's just more a story. It's not my favorite project, but it's more a story on resilience. Because I shot the Tiger King sizzle reel and TV movie, the pilot, in 2013, and then literally like I just years later, I was like, nobody's gonna watch this stuff. Like, why? I was on the road. I had a hard drive, and I'm like, why do I have all this gay zoo footage on here, man? Like it's taking up all this room. And but I was obviously wrong. It just goes to show you. It made me too, dude. Now I don't throw nothing. I don't throw anything away. I mean, I already cataloged, tapes and hard drives and stuff like that. But after the Tiger King, it became more so because it just goes to show you, you stick through with something, or if you have a belief and about something that, it's not up to you. It's not up to me. It's up to God. It's God's path. That's pretty much, I talked a lot about what I do, but really I just give it all up to God and let him drive, because I would not have survived the Tiger King, and I would not be very comfortable going to India or Africa if I didn't believe that it was what God wanted me to do and was guiding me,
So
and in
how
doing so with a good group of people, good like-minded people.
how did that come to place? Like, how did that idea manifest? Like, how did you get in? Like, was it your idea? Was it like
No, it's
something?
it's Joe's idea. Joe's definitely the creative. Joe created the whole Tiger King, even the name, the Tiger
So
King. Even if you go back and look in 2011 or 2012, he was licensing like Tiger Cream lotions and candies and other shit they used to sell in his gift shop, right? So it's definitely an IP Joe created. There was a company was owned by Jason Carbone. It's defunct now, but it's called Good Clean Fun. They produced Jason Carbone produced The Bachelor, a bunch of stuff. But Good Clean Fun's a big production company. And so I got to working with Joe when we shot the sizzle reel for what was going to be the big Tiger King show back then. And all the same elements that were in the Netflix series were in the series back then. I think, it was just really ahead of its time. Honestly, like it was tough to get it off in the markets back then. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't tough. We had a bidding war for it, but it was more of a challenge than it is these days, because it's just so many controversial things and so many issues that polarize people, and also things that cross, political party lines. It's like Joe is a gay, gun carrying, polygamous redneck with 200 tigers and two husbands. And like, it's like you couldn't make. I used to explain it to my homeboy out here, and I'd be like, dude, you got to come to the zoo. And they would be like, no, like,
yeah.
what are you talking? Are you okay?
So you filmed it in 2013, right? And then when did it
Yep.
break? COVID? Was it like 2020 or
Yeah.
what?
So
Yeah.
so so yeah. So in 2013, we shot the TV movie and the sizzle reel. The pilot, the TV movie, we produced for A&E. There was a bidding war between A&E, Discovery, and Animal Planet for the project. But I think it was our second or third day of production of that A&E project, Saf had their arm ripped off. And so after her arm was ripped off, it kind of killed the production. And also, I've been filming up there for 6 months at that point, on and off. And so it brought it very to the forefront of me, because I'd been filming. I'd be in the cage with tigers, or I
Yeah.
had friends with me, right? Come take some photos. It's cool. But after I saw how quickly, it's a tiger, and you have to respect those animals. And not that they were disrespected, and not that, I feel bad for Joe, man. He made some bad choices, but it's not like he was out actively trying to plan to kill Carol Baskin. And he didn't abuse animals. He just had a big tiger farm, and he
Yeah.
and he took care of it, and he had a big farm. So, free Joe Exotic, man. I
Great
hope
job.
he can get. I hope he can get a pardon, but outside of that, that was I gave 10 years of my life to that journey, because, we, the pilot, didn't take off back then. And then, to be honest, I kind of forgot about it a few years. I worked on a lot of different stuff. I was questioning even why I had footage a few years later, like I just said a minute ago. And then, in 2017, Royal Good Productions, who documented his trial and everything else, and had been in contact with him. They had reached out to Joe, and the whole thing was kind of like they they kind of, they don't ever present it to you at times like the project really is. The thing was, hey, we're shooting a show about big cat owners, and Joe Exotic might be in an episode. And would you be interested in talking to us about Joe? Oh, okay. Well, sure. I'll interview you. And they didn't use me. At the time, I had a really nice studio I worked in up in North Dallas, and we shot my interview. I wore my suit. I was like, I didn't look like anybody that was in the Tiger King. And also, I had a lot of facts I brought to the table because I prepped for the interview, as far as radical animal rights organizations like PETA, who kill 80 to 90% of every animal they get their hands on. but they're a big, lobbying billion-dollar organization that, that Joe took on. And it's very much the reason he's in jail right now is because he took on the PETAs and the Carol Baskins. So I presented a bunch of facts related to radical animal rights activists, and I was really articulate. And we shot it in my studio, and so it looked very nice. So they never used any of my interview, right? In fact, they recast me. There's like a crackhead. I don't even know. He's a literal crackhead. What's his name? After the girl had her arm ripped off, I was talking to Joe, and I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna work remotely, and we're
Just
gonna
that
find
sentence,
somebody. Yeah, we're gonna
that
find
sentence
somebody to
alone
come."
after the girl had her arm ripped off. Like what? Like yeah.
Yeah, yes. So I'm like, I'm going to work remotely and I'll consult with you on your internet show. Right. And so one of the first people that he hired to run, because Joe basically had a podcast before there was a podcast. Like he was doing this shit in 2011, you know?
Yeah.
So
And that's so interesting. Like you were like, because you're like an OG. Like you, like everyone's got a camera now. Everyone's a content creator. Everyone's a filmmaker. But like, and I feel like the same thing with music. Like back in the day, like it was expensive to film. Like there weren't a lot
right.
of guys doing it. So you're really like one of the pioneers, especially I would say probably reality TV pioneers, and definitely a show like Joe Exotic. Like,
Well, thank you
that
for that.
was such a life changing, like not life, but like era. Everybody knew what Tiger King was, and it's crazy to like think about that you literally shot it 2018. It didn't come out till 2020. So just the divine faith, like you said, just in God to really make sure that your work is seen and definitely just really crazy. Like I said, OG in this content, like I said, everyone's a content creator, but you're an actual filmmaker. And I thought it was so interesting the other day when you talked to me about just how you like assemble a movie, a movie and then shop it. You're doing like big budgets on this stuff and actually like shopping what'd you say? You're like a house builder. You like build the house and you put the
Yep.
budget together and then you shop
Yep.
the house. So
Oh, yeah, but we're
that's
not going to give away all the special sauce in our
yeah,
podcast here.
I'm not giving them not giving
We're
them
going to
too
play that
much.
close to the vest. But yeah, that's
Not giving them too
basically what
much.
we do is we build digital assets, and I've been very lucky and blessed by God to be able to pivot with all the different.
Is it Joe? Is it Joe? No, I'm just kidding.
Joe, it wasn't Joe. No, I don't talk to Joe daily anymore. I still support him, but I can't deal with, gang problems from your prison burner phone in the middle of the night. You're having is outside of my scope of work as an agent and a producer and a filmmaker. But no, I do. But yeah, we're talking about, well, cheaters for one thing. You mentioned reality TV, and I won't claim that, but my mentor Bobby Goldstein is one of the original architects of reality
Yeah.
television. We were shooting cheaters, and when I was a teenager, I was a kid, I didn't even know what the hell I was doing. We were shooting cheaters in 1998. So other than like the Real World or
Yeah.
Survivor, they're the only other. And then Cops is very much a reality show too. And let me
True.
tell you, a lot of reality is heavily produced, but Cops is very serious, right? So
Yeah.
Cops, if you consider Cops reality, it predates us by a long time. But other than that, Bobby Goldstein's one of the original architects of this whole reality television style, which has transitioned over the years. And, we're living in the fifth industrial revolution. We're living in a modern technological revolution with streaming, with AI, and the way content's delivered. They do all this in real life content right now, the IRL content, like you're talking about content creators. I mean, we laid the groundwork for all that by producing reality 20 years
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have been able to not been able, a lot of people that are able to pivot. That's what, and like you said, there's a lot of creators, but it's like, what do you do with it afterwards? Or do you have a strategic plan with it? Or who is distributing this for you? Like, because at the end of the day, it's a business. Just like you said, we're building a house. So we're going to put the frame, we're going to go through all the steps. We're going to put the framework up. We're going to have a schematic. We're going to get with an architect or at least some engineers that can tell us, hey, this is going to work right before we start building.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the most important takeaway is about being a good cinematographer or videographer or producer or director is all about working with your team. You're only as good as the team you're working with. Just like it takes a crew to build a house, you're not going to bring your electricians over and expect them to do some plumbing for you, right? And vice versa. You're not going to just, it's like, hey, you know what? I can do kick-ass framing and good sheetrock, so I'm going to build this house. And then you throw some things up, and then you didn't consult with an engineer, and then it's not up to code, and then this is, and so just feeding into the analogy that I was talking about the other day, right? You just basically you're building a house, and so that's kind of what I do. I build these digital assets. We roll them down the field. They serve several purposes. Not only make money, but they build awareness and a vehicle of promotion for talent and brands. And I've been really blessed and really lucky to be able to do what I do for so long and not have to do anything else. And that's helped me really get specialized and perform well. Now I'm just really trying to scale, which is also why I'm completing my MBA, because it's almost just too overwhelming. Not overwhelming, but it's just, uh, get the strategic framework and the stuff together that I can use to build properly, and instead of just throwing shit against the wall
Yeah,
and
I
see
mean,
what sticks.
I think,
Both do the same thing. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'll still throw some shit against the wall and
yeah.
see what see.
But you're really getting into the AI. I mean, every time every podcast I got to talk about AI. You're really getting into the AI space of filmmaking.
Yeah, yeah, not to replace filmmakers or anybody, but 70% of the workforce is going to be replaced by AI in 2030. And that's not because robots are going to be doing their job. That's just because artificial intelligence has devalued skill sets. Do you need this? You need something coded, or you need some legal document written. So it's devalued. Normally, you have to go hire a coder or an attorney who make tremendous fees an hour, right? Now AI can do it for you in minutes. Now it's not a human, it's not right, but in the progression in the next 4 years, it's like, so it's not, that's how it's getting rid of the workforce. It's just devaluing those skills. So we have to be able to pivot, just like we did from analog to digital, just like we did, streaming. And so we have to become better custodians of this technology, because that's
And
really what I think that's what we'll do in the future, is creative direction.
communicate. I think, like, as a creative director, I think your life's getting a lot easier. Like, from what I understand, is AI is now going to be handling a lot of the heavy lifting from a technical standpoint, and you're going to be able to create whatever you want to create. So I think you're definitely at the forefront of that movement, and just pretty awesome to our conversation just the other day just kind of opened some just neural pathways for me, just like learning how to like actually speak to the AI, and just learning how
Right.
to talk to it. From our conversation was pretty eye opening. So I definitely know you're very well versed in the space. I do have one last question, and I do this with everybody. Okay, my thing is events. I love events. I love to throw a good party. So it's not weird. You have to do it. I just need to close. I need you to close your eyes for the next 20 seconds, and I need to know what your dream event, if JT could produce and do his own dream event, what would that look like? Give me a quick synopsis of what you see in your mind right now.
JT's dream event is going to be the premiere of the Scarecrow Bandits and I'd love to say the Chinese theater, right? But I'm going to be happy with a limited theatrical release. So JT's events is more than one event. It's a weekend extravaganza leading up to the release of my feature film.
I like, and okay, what's the feature film? What is that?
The Scarecrow Bandits. I wrote the film with a good friend of mine, Crisco, I grew up with. Just Say No to Sco. He's actually the number one
Oh,
live
Sco,
stream
yeah.
YouTube blogger. Yeah, Sco. So Sco knew the Scarecrow Bandits. They're from
What,
Garland, just
what's,
like
what's
just like he
Scarecrow?
and I.
What is
The
that?
Scarecrow Bandits robbed 21 banks in '07 and '08, and they were rappers. And they had a recording studio, and
Oh,
they successfully robbed banks for 2 years in takeover style. And we're not taking they're kind of the backdrop of in this bigger, more complicated story with undercover agents and a lot of other people. It's just kind of a big, diverse, kind of non-linear tale. And the Scarecrow Bandits are definitely in it and provide a backdrop to that. So, but I mean, it's more of a real world piece. The protagonist is an undercover federal agent who's not really so good, and the antagonists, who are the bank robbers, they're not, I mean, they're bank robbers, so they're bad, but they're really kind of in a situation. They're not really so bad. It's more of a it's a gray area, like the real world.
yeah.
And so dealing with so much, I wrote it, we wrote it probably 6 or 7 years ago. It was optioned, it went in a turnaround, and then I haven't been able to do much with it the last few years, and it's a very ambitious project. So it's like when I sit down, it's all I can, do. But as I ramp back up for it, I mean, and as I've revisited the piece over the last year or two, last couple of years, it's kind of pivoted because violence and gun violence and everything is a big problem in our world. So I don't want to promote that, or doesn't promote violence or celebrate gangsterism, if you will. Feel like no, the media did this. Now it's popular. Now everybody is gay and drug users, right? It's very
Yeah,
popular. It's what they promote in the media.
yeah,
When I was younger, when we were kids, it was popular to be a drug dealer or a gangster.
yeah. No,
Right in the 90s is
yeah,
the the peak of gangster rap, of mobster movies, and
yeah.
so makes you wonder if the programming is programming you, right? Are they brainwashing us with this stuff? I mean, don't get me wrong, I make programming and I
That's
make
hey,
trash
no,
TV for a living.
we're getting to that in another podcast that we can't even begin to dive into.
Yeah.
Definitely, this has been like an amazing just 30 minutes with you, JT. I know you're a busy guy. Again,
Yeah, I
just like
loved it.
really appreciate you coming on, and we'll be on the look out for Scarecrow Bandits. Thank you for coming on.
I heard
Scarecrow Bandits, is there a release date? Do we have a release date for
no,
that?
it's in pre-production. I mean, it's still a
Okay.
script.
So
So the
sometime in the
Scarecrow
future,
Bandits 26, it's a 26 or 27 project.
in the next
You're
in the
gonna
next
see
year
you're
or
gonna
two.
see Cheaters before then. You're gonna see the Texas Cannabis Chronicles before then. You're gonna see a new Tiger King before then.
We're gonna be on the lookout for all your projects. Again, JT, my brother, love you, appreciate you. Thank you for
Much
coming on.
love.
It was amazing.
Appreciate you, my brother.
All right,
Thank you,
see you.
Harrison. I'll
Bye.
see you.